20. This is Federico Sanabria. I am your instructor, and this is the first video lecture of the semester. The topic of this video lecture is going to be a historical background to many of the topics that we are going to be covering during the course of the semester. And to discuss this historical background, we're going to go back a little bit in time, back to Aristotle. We're not going to spend too much time in antiquity, but we have to mention that really the history of what we are going to be discussing in class starts all the way back with the ancient Greeks. Aristotle took a naturalist approach to the study of the universe, and in one particular book called The Anima, or On the Soul, Aristotle took this approach, this naturalist approach based on observation, to study the nature of living things, including humans, but also non-human animals, even plants. And part of what he was interested in was the behavior of these things. He classified them on the basis of the functions that each of this, or the operations that each of these living things had to complete to live in the world. And one very important one, of course, was movement or behavior. Now, Aristotle's take on the soul is very different, or it's not necessarily the same, let's put it that way, than the take that the contemporary take on the soul. Nowadays we think of the soul as something that, at least a Christian view, is that it is immortal, that it is transcendental, somewhat mystical. For Aristotle, it doesn't necessarily mean something like that, although it's not completely clear. But it appears that his take was more of the soul as that which is the vital principle, the thing that makes living things alive, what animates them. And that's what he was trying to understand. But that particular take on the nature of living things wasn't necessarily popular later on in when the Middle Ages started. And that's where we see our next character, Augustine the Hippo, or Saint Augustine, as some of you may know him. He was an advocate of a particular approach to philosophy called Neoplatonism. And this is, even though it is grounded on ancient Greek philosophy, it is a significant departure from Aristotelian philosophy. This is not advocating for a naturalist approach to the world, to understanding the world, to knowledge, but rather it takes a very particular view of how how existence is organized. Think of it this way, so that you can appreciate where he's coming from. From the Neoplatonist approach, the world is really, or rather existence is divided into sort of like two planes. Let's try to draw this. Oh, sorry. Alright. So there's one plane that is plane of ideal things, or of ideas, if you want to put it that way, and a plane that we will call the world as we see it, as we experience it. And in the plane of ideal things, a circle is a perfect circle. It's just something that we don't see in the world. We don't see a perfect circle. We see projections of those perfect transcendental ideas. These are perfect. These are transcendental. These are imperfect here. These are projections. These are temporary. True knowledge from a Neoplatonist approach comes from getting to know this transcendental ideal things, not from knowing the world. And thus, observation is really not the right approach to knowledge from this perspective, because you get distracted by the imperfections of the world. Instead of observation, what you're aiming at, or the method that you're using rather to gain knowledge, is not observation, it's contemplation. It is through contemplation that you gain knowledge. Now, you can put, of course, I just put a circle as an example, but you can think of God being here, and then expressions of deity are seen in the world in different ways. But also, soul is here in this plane, and we, you and I, we're mere projections. That's a person, by the way. We're mere projections of that soul. And where is that soul? Where can we find it? We find it inside us. It's made of a completely different material. It's not material. None of this is material, of course. This is all spiritual. This is all immaterial. This is material. So, if we're going to understand the soul, we should contemplate it, and we should contemplate it through introspection. We have to remove ourselves from the world. We have to engage in exercises, maybe of something that we may call today meditation, to get to know ourselves.